What's up, everybody? We're back for another episode of the Antler Up Podcast, and on the other line, I'm joined by one of my best friends. I got Tom Runscavage is on, and get that Drop Time. Where's he at? Where's he in the background? I mean, you don't have to sit there. Yeah, there he is. He is there. There's that Drop Time. But no,
that little junk.
Yeah, I like it, man. Dude, it's great to have you on again. It's been a while since we talked. I mean, we've chatted here and there, and obviously in our text message, we daily we're messaging in some form or fashion. But to sit down and have this conversation, I think it's great timing. Number one, because of the crap you and I don't want to say crap, but like just the everyday stuff that you and I are going through right now, right? You're a new parent. I feel like I'm a new parent all over again after the 10 years. I think it's like a new thing. Like if you have a kid after a decade, like now it's okay. It's like you're a brand new parent again. So that's where I'm at, and that's where you're at right now. And you're working, you're in the medical field. Your wife's in the medical field. So you guys are kind of at different ends and doing different things. And our passion is whitetails. So, we'll get into that, but I hope this conversation, I think our goal with it is just to kind of air some just emotions out, some feelings out, just see where we're at, see how maybe what other people can do. Maybe they could give us feedback. Maybe we could see what we're going to plan on doing, how we could help things out, and just whatever else kind of comes up, man. But, that was a long-winded introduction. So, dude, how the hell are you, man?
I'm pretty good, Jeremy. It's nice to be on again and chatting with you. So, looking forward to it.
Yeah, dude. How about New York?
I know. I'm excited. I was jealous the other day when you and Tim were able to get up there and do some scouting and get some cameras out. But no, it'll be sweet when I finally get up there, which will probably be by the hunting season by the time I'm able to have free time to get up there. But it should be fun. I'm chomping at the bit to see when I think it's August 1st, the New York tags go on sale. At least I want to get a doe tag. So I haven't shot a deer with the rifle in a good couple of years, and really want to get something with it this year.
Yeah, dude, I'm with you on that one for sure. We've been getting a lot of deer on camera. Actually, I didn't put it in the message, but today they were moving down on our lower half where one of my cameras are at. It's kind of in that transition area, a little bedding nearby, thick little spot, and I had like 4 or 5 deer on camera all at once.
Okay.
3 of them for sure were doe, with maybe 1 or 2 of them being fawns, but the other 2 kind of had their head down. So I don't know if they had any headgear or not. If they did, that'd be great. That'd be cool. We got some bucks though, and so that's exciting, dude. When Tim and I did make that trip up, we're like, dang, I wish Tom could have made it. And I said, have you talked to him, and has he mentioned any chance he might be able to get out there? And he goes, no, knowing him, he might. He goes, that 1 second he might get a free spot. He might call me and be like, hey, you want to go for a ride? So hopefully you do, because dude, I'm anxious to see how it will play out. I'm anxious to see how the people around would be. I'm anxious to see what kind of deer we get, because like Jim said, along with Tim, when they went up there that original time, man, like they ran into a bunch of sign, and you could kind of see it a little bit, like even when we went up not too long ago. So with all that green up and everything like that, I could see how it's going to hunt big. And I think like all 4 of us, not necessarily, I mean, if we could be up there a day where all 4 of us are, that'd be a fun hunt. But I almost feel like too, we're going to have our own little spots. Like It's not like we're going to be right on top of each other, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It'll be different. I've never been a part of a lease before. I am part of a couple like hunting clubs like locally, but I honestly rarely ever go up to them. Like when I do, it's usually rifle season, because whether it's a good thing or a bad thing, I'm pretty stubborn and stick to the spots on public that I know and love, and just keep going back, even though I hardly see deer most of the time. But something about it, I just can't pull myself away from those spots.
Dude, because when you finally do see a deer, it's the deer.
Exactly. Like I said, that guy on the wall right there, that was the November 8th this year. I think that was maybe the 5th or 6th deer I saw all season at that point, and which actually was a good year for me.
Yeah.
I saw more buck than I had in a while, and especially for the spots I'm at, it was pretty good. I saw I don't know if we'll talk about it at some point, but I went to Colorado for elk this year, and I spent 2 weeks out there in the backcountry. I know that lives out there. He invited me to come along to his kind of elk camp which was like I flew in, got picked up, and it was about a 14-mile quad ride back to where they kind of is him and another guy. They're both in there, maybe like one guy's late 50s, other guy's early 60s. But every year they set this camp up and they spend, I think, about 3 weeks out there. Like I said, so I spent the last 2 weeks of the season with them. And I still kind of, I'm not going to lie, it still kind of hurts. But I had 2 shots on elk. The first that we hunt mainly out of tree stands there because, again, they've been hunting it for years. And they kind of know the funnels of where they're going to be. And we'll kind of do calling and stuff in the mornings. And the one little kind of drainage that he is the guy I was with, his primary spot. That's where we went pretty much every morning. And I saw a spike the first day. Second day, I had a shot at a beautiful, I think it was a 6x6. I try not to look once I counted enough points that he was legal. And he came in within 17 yards. And I was in this pine tree, and he kind of was walking the little drainage right alongside me. And he was almost pretty much eye level too, which was pretty sweet. But when I shot, I misjudged the branch that was in front of me, and my arrow deflected off and sailed right over him. And then ended up having another shot at an elk on day 9, actually in the same tree stand. And he was a little bit higher up, kind of cresting like above me. Right. And I shot, and the hit was a little bit high, not in shoulder, right behind shoulder, but kind of in that no man's land. And again, he was a little bit above me, so the arrow kind of just went upwards and not downwards into the lung. So I feel like if he was a little bit lower and I was able to clip top lung and hit second to the back lung, I would have been in the money. But it was definitely an awesome experience, and I was glad I was able to get out there. But so it's still a little heartbreaking that I had 2 opportunities. And actually, I've now hunted elk twice, and I've had 3 opportunities where I've drawn back and shot at elk and haven't come home with anything yet. But the positive is every time I go out for elk, it kind of refocused me for whitetail, and I usually find success. Like the year out there with the first time, I ended up coming back and shooting that drop tine buck, and this year I shot a nice buck, so I was pretty happy with that. But I think I'm still I prepped a good amount prior to the season, especially with practicing my shot and everything. I think I just don't give myself that last kind of split second to kind of calm myself down and settle the pin, and that's what I think hurt me on the elk. And that's why for the whitetail, I really felt like I focused this year. When that buck came by at 12 or 13 yards, I really just gave myself that extra second to make sure I was in the money before I released. And yeah, that felt good. But I don't even know what the point of that was, where we
you just
summed up the whole season.
Yeah, I like it though. But you were one of those weird ones, man. You took a saddle out west and were saddle hunting for some elk.
Yeah, my luggage, I really packed my saddle, my sticks. It was like I did well in the packing aspect of everything to get all my gear out. And again, I had plans in mind. Like, if I shoot an elk by this date, I'm gonna just get a one-way, or I'm going to cancel my flight and just get a one-way vehicle to drive home and whatnot. And I had plans if I get one, I also have friends out there. I'd drop some meat off and then just fly home and maybe come back at a later date. So I had multiple, that's the thing about hunting out west. Like for a mule deer, antelope, you can definitely bring an animal back on the plane, but an elk's like a whole nother beast that I haven't really tackled yet to give advice on how to get them home. But it's just easier for us. I mean, it's still a long drive, like probably 25 to 30 hours, depending on what part of the state. So it's tough to drive, but yeah.
How prepared are you right now for this year, dude?
In what aspect? In like the overall like woodsmanship, knowing what's going on in the woods, or like just like gear, bow, that kind of setup?
Maybe everything.
Well, I mean, we went to the montage shoot. That was May, I think, or was it June? I forget.
Yeah, that was May.
So since then, I shot my bow maybe 3 times after that. So definitely less than ideal and less than I normally shoot. But I don't know. I was actually looking the other day about a new bow. Like, should I get I like Matthews. I have a Halon from, I think that was 2016 that came out. So again, still a good bow for today, but it's kind of there's newer technology that's out there. And I'm like, do I get a new bow this year, or just stick with what I know? And I think at this point, like with the time I have, I don't think it's the smartest idea to get a whole new setup before the season.
Right. I think you're right. I think you're right on that one. I think too, right now, the new bows are going to be dropping here soon anyway. So it might even be, you know, I mean, you figure the season's going to roll around. You're still comfortable with what you're shooting and all that stuff. Get through one more season and then figure out which way you want to go and test some bows out or whatever, and see how you go. And man, I'm not talking down on Matthews. It's just, it's funny just because I have my thumb on, I guess, on the beat of things, just because I like reading on Archery Talk and different groups. It's crazy to see how many people, I mean, in the grand scheme of things, it looks like a lot because people are obviously the ones posting about it, but how many issues people are having with the limbs cracking, and they're not even.
I was just reading that actually today, because I mean, honestly, I'd probably just wait till see what the sale is on like the year before, like that phase 4 or whatever, see if there's any good deals. Because again, like I like archery for the fact of it's fun to shoot, and I enjoy the hunting aspect more. I'm not really super into kind of the target side of things, so I'd be fine with a year or two older model if I get a good deal on it. So yeah, I was reading about the kind of some issues people were having. What I was also reading was that people with like strong, like the 70 to 80 pound limbs were the issues. And honestly, my bow is about like 57 pounds right now. And not that I'm a weakling, I do work out a decent amount, but I feel comfortable with that. I can hold back for a while, and it's just I've never had issues. I've shot through black bear and most of the deer. I at least get almost pass throughs like 80% of the time with fixed heads.
Right. Well, dude, you were still hitting targets out at 90, 100 yards plus with a 57 pound bow. I mean, it's just all about your setup and what your arrow setup is and all that jazz. But yeah, what about the woodsman side? What's going on the camera front and getting out there and all that type of stuff? How do you feel?
Yeah. So I mean, so I had, well, I guess I'm sure we'll talk about, but I had, my son was born, January 26th. So, that kind of, I got out a little bit prior to that, but my kind of winter, early spring scouting was kind of pretty much non-existent for the most part. I kind of told myself in the beginning that going into this season, again, my time's going to be limited to what I normally do. With how I work, I kind of do 7 12-hour shifts in a row, and then I'm off for 7 days. So usually I would take off like whatever that kind of week I work in, beginning middle of November, and then I'd be off for 3 weeks. So this year we're trying to not to do daycare, and I have parents that are close by to help out, but pretty much every day I request off from work. Those are the days I can hunt, because my wife we do opposite schedules. When I'm working, she's at home with the baby, and vice versa. So right now I'm at 10 days I can hunt for archery. So it's already kind of a crunch of figuring out, and where I hunt, it's big woods, low deer density. I mean, in 10 days, if I see 3 or 4 deer, that's pretty good, honestly. So, and then to get a chance on one is even lower. But that's why I think this year I'm just going to focus on the spots that I know and comfortable with, that I've been kind of in the last couple of years, and kind of finally figuring some things out. And again, it's hunting. Like, even when I think I have a spot dialed in, it's a deer might not show up for whatever reason. A coyote could have run through at some point, or another hunter could have bumped them. But I think when I did request my days off, I pretty much picked all kind of weekdays. So I'll kind of avoid some of the pressure in that regards, just hunting more weekdays when not as many people are out in the woods. But I did manage to find time to get most of my cameras out. There's one area left that I have 3 cameras that I need to put out, but I think in total I have 15 out right now. So I think for the most part, that's actually, I'm pretty happy with that. And I probably won't end up getting to check them until come season rolls around, when I actually get into these spots. But like I said, I know the areas, I know I'm going to hunt them. And at the point in my life right now, if a 115, 120 inch buck comes by, I'm shooting them every day. So that's kind of where I'm at with things. If it's a mature deer and it gets me excited, regardless of antler size, that's what I'm after.
So how are you feeling mentally, just overall, man, going into the season? Because I have like mixed emotions about it. I really do. Just be like on that personal, side of things. We joke amongst our group of friends of, even this past weekend when we played golf, and Tim asked me, he's like, so what are your goals this year? You're going to go buck wild again and just like shoot everything? And it's kind of, I was like, no, maybe does I will, because I don't plan on having a bunch of tags in my like last year, every round I got a doe tag for PA. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? This year, honestly, I was thinking about, I got my 4C one, like, which is back at home, and get my local one here, and I might get the 2 here. And like in years past, I was getting all 4 or
Okay.
whatever like whatever I can, just whacking and stacking if I could. And what my goal going into that is kind of, if I see one early, great, there we go. I could fill a tag here locally. If I get out again at some point in time, I'm not going to kind of strive for it, because kind of like what you were saying, I know I might bounce around here, Tom, but my scouting postseason was kind of lack thereof, or, very non-existent, just because of, Carly was born New Year's Eve, you know what I mean? And those type of things. So luckily, going off of more historical time and trying to be a little bit smarter again with, timing, quote unquote. But like you said, shit changes from year to year. Like, you might still be in the right core area. You just might have to make a shift here and there. And that's obviously being time in the woods. But yeah, I just kind of going back to that, my kind of philosophy or goal this year is just to kind of make the most of the time when I am out there. Just because of, I still want to have those opportunities, number one, but also I want to have those opportunities to go on trips, right? Yeah. Where they're quick bangers. Like last year when I hunted Maryland, it was a weekend. I didn't get a chance to go back out there. Would I've liked to? Sure. Now adding, I like my for sures are going to be PA, obviously, New York, obviously, and I still want to do Ohio. Little man waking up.
Nope.
Okay. So like with that, I still want to make those trips and I want to make those happen. So, I just, it's not one of those I'm hoping seasons. It's just like when I'm there, I want to make the most of it. Yeah. My goal is like, don't settle when you're out there. Like, don't just, this looks like, okay, I think I'll hunt here. Like, I don't want to fall back into that routine that I did many years ago.
Yeah.
So like that's where I'm at. And I'm also struggling with like making sure things are still right here at home. Like making sure when I do come home, it's not like who's going on the wall, this deer hopefully I shot or me. You know what I mean? And because man, like even right now, I'm home. I'm not even working right now, right? Like it's summertime for us, and Nora's busy. She's like a main lead in her play that she's participating in. My wife's busy doing things with the baby. I'm helping out as much as I can, and it's like, dang, when could I get a podcast? Like when could I go create fun content stuff that I like doing, right? It's not that I am obligated to an extent or anything like that. It's just I enjoy doing it. That means I get to go out, shoot my bow, practice getting up in the saddle, doing things, and then I get to take some video pictures. Man, I don't have time for that.
I know. Chicken nuggets and French fries in the air fryer about, I don't know, maybe an hour and a half ago, and that was my dinner. And me and my wife were both home. It's just like it's tough finding time for things anymore. And again, it is what it is, I guess, is the thing. It's like I'm a husband, now a father, and obviously a deer hunter, but kind of prioritizing what's actually important out of those things. The deer hunting is not the first or the second thing. Right. And that's what you have to focus on. It's like you have to make sure your family's is in the right place and you're in the right place with your wife, and that the same thing, that your child is being taken care of and that they're happy. I mean, like I said, that's what you do when you decide to get married and decide to have children. So it's just kind of like focusing and changing of priorities. Again, not that it's a bad thing or whatnot. It's just hunting will always be there for me, and I'm gonna get out regardless. But like I said, it might not, I might, out of those 10 days that I have off, like maybe 2 of those days I want to be at home with the family those days and maybe do some fall activity or whatnot. And like I said, it is what it is. I'm still gonna, when I'm out there, I want to be 100% focused on hunting and doing what I need to do and wanting to harvest an animal.
Right.
But like I said, I don't want to leave the house arguing with my wife or making sure, like I said, like my baby's crying and he needs something, and I don't want to focus and prioritize hunting in that regard this year.
Right.
Like I said, it's hopefully we're both in our mid to late 80s. Like we have hopefully many years to get out there.
Right,
there's only my house is only so big. I can only fit so many deer heads in the wall. So, I mean, some years you have success and some years you don't. And I think all of us have to like kind of sit back and realize that like you people kind of get so caught up in things and so obsessed with things that like they don't realize kind of the importance of everything else going around in your life. Like, again, we're
Yep.
getting older. Our parents are getting older. Like, are you checking in on them? Are you kind of spending time with them? Are you making sure your family's in the right place? I think those kind of should all be also priorities of people going into the season. And like I said, I like to take my dad out, and he crossbow hunts, and I bought him the crossbow so I can spend more time with him when he goes out in the season. So when I'm picking these spots, I always make sure that I have an idea where I want him to set up, and I want him to find success because that'll make me just as happy if he harvests one of those big deer that I have on camera as well.
Dude, I love what you said, because there's been times where, there obviously my daughter's 10, then the baby's a couple months, and you brought up about talking about your dad. Same thing, like when I had a chance to go home this summer with him and walk the mountain and put out some cameras, shift cameras, put out new ones. And he got new knees a couple years ago, and he kept up, a couple years ago really well post-surgery. And this summer, I don't know if he got a little bit lazy or what, but there were times where I was just kind of walking slower, and I'm like, look back, and he's 30 yards behind me, and I'm thinking in my head, is he walking slower? Did he see something? Did he check something out? And I'm like, dang, you know what I mean? Like, you start to think that a little bit. And so I caught up to him, and there was one other spot I really wanted to dive in deeper, but we didn't get a chance to, stuff like that. But then you think about, dude, I'm going to throw this one at you, and this one boggles my mind a lot. When you think about it, obviously I know, Nora goes to college or wherever she pursues it post, high school and stuff, and that's years from now. Hopefully she wants to stay home and live at home those summers, and she gets an internship, whatever. Dude, I only got like 8 more summers with her. Like, what? Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, WTF? Like, when I seriously,
like, did you, after that, like, did you want to be home, and like, you probably started maybe getting an apartment or living with friends at the time or whatnot. So,
right.
Yeah, like I said, once you kind of go off to college, like that's kind of like things are different. And I guess thinking back how I was when I was 18 years old and how I am today, like, not that I neglected my parents and whatnot, but like that wasn't your focus on life. You were trying to start your own life and whatnot. And I see that now in the last couple of years on like kind of refocusing and kind of back when I maybe would get annoyed with them or whatnot, if they were kind of like asking me questions about my life, like they just care about you. Like that's
right.
really what it comes down to. And kind of now appreciating those moments you spend with them.
100%. And I just, again, I go back to my daughter, Nora, that how much of an impact that we really do make, man. I mean, I know with you, just this is your first, and he's only a couple months old and all that type of stuff, but it's the little things like I don't want to miss now and be a part of it. And selfishly, I'm like, oh man, I kind of got a redo. You know what I mean? Like when I had Nora, obviously I was 27, and I mean, I was ready. I was already married we were married 2 years at the time and a couple years dating. And so it wasn't like this, oh my gosh, like, I was super, super young, but I'm still a big kid at heart, man. Like we went to Walmart today. I'm like, yo, let's go check out the toys, kid. Like I'm excited for that type of stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, like it's just putting things into perspective. And at the end of the day, man, to be completely honest, like I am so thankful for this platform for people that follow and listen and are interested enough to give me an hour of time and listen to us as we talk about this, Tom. Yeah. But at the same time, like I know if I don't kill a deer, I know they're not hopefully not going to listen, right? Yeah. I mean, I didn't kill a couple bucks the last couple of years, so I guess that is the right thing.
Yeah.
But at the same time, man, it's just no one really cares if is what I'm getting at, other than I'm rooting for you, right? Like you're one of my boys. I'm rooting for you, but it's not going to be the end all be all if you don't kill a deer. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, right.
You know
what I mean? And that's the importance of these friendships and all that type of stuff, dude, just because having that support during, of this transition time period, because I mean, it is murky waters. Like, that postpartum shit is legit.
Yeah.
And,
yeah.
you know, so the 1 second you're thinking you're doing the right thing, and the next second, you know, you're getting screamed at, but you want to make sure you're doing all right. It's tough, man. It's
Yeah.
a tough kind of to navigate through that and make sure you're doing good. And man, but like you said though, people do get a little bit more too wrapped up into things, and at the end of the day, man, they're whitetails. Yes, we're passionate, and you could sit there and say, well, get up earlier and do something or whatever it be, but like you say, man, it's, you know, we're approaching, you know, late tonight, and we're just sitting down doing this just because honestly, this was the best time you and I actually
Yeah.
had time to do something like that.
Yeah, I know. Like I said, it'll be after probably get off. I'll be kind of watching over him because he'll probably be waking up from his kind of early bedtime. So it's one of those things. Like I said, it is what it is. You only have so much time on this earth, so it's like that time with the people that you love and do the things you love. But like again, don't try. You gotta. It's the yin yang of balancing both of those things. That's kind of where it comes down to. Like I said, it's if I don't harvest the deer this year, I'm gonna be just as content and happy with my life as if I did. So I think everyone kind of needs to kind of realize that too, and have their priorities kind of in check, kind of going into every year. Because again, we want to be successful in the woods, but it's also good to be successful in your overall life as well.
What about so like talking about that, and because man, that's my problem. Like when I get like no matter what it is, I always kind of obsess over it. You know what I mean? And so like that one thing I have to kind of, I think I do have to get put in my place a little bit at times, like either from a friend, from my wife, from my, you know, my sister, my older sister, something along those lines where I have to be kind of sometimes be like, dude, chill out, or, you know, kind of put me in my place, just because I get psychotic about that. That's just my demeanor. It's how I've always been. Striving at, I don't want to say perfection, but just that, you know, it just kind of consumes me. So like with that, like I said, I've come to grips with my expectations for this year. What about you, man? Like, what are your, you know, obviously, like you said, when you go out, you're going to go out, but do you have any expectations or anything like that? You're just going to let shit kind of let it play out?
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, there was kind of a deer that I had been chasing the last like three seasons that I know now is he got killed during rifle last year. He kind of made me kind of stay in this one spot. So now that he's dead, I kind of I'm just gonna kind of see where things go. My goal is there's not much like food is just browse where I hunt at. So I don't really designate it early season, like end of October, and then rut kind of spots previously. But now, like with the years that kind of knowledge that I kind of have an idea of where I kind of want to, like, cause I want to kind of compartmentalize, like this is when it's this time of the year, I want to kind of focus on this spot and not get burned, because I've burned myself to kind of hunting this one area for multiple days when I should have been in this other spot, because after the season when I pulled cameras, there was more activity this time of the year. So I think once you kind of get to know, and you don't also want to have one spot, because again, things can change every season, whether it's food, whether it's kind of human pressure, there's a lot of kind of logging and clear cuts that are going on in a lot of the spots I'm in. So things will change. So it's just having a lot of options, but not too many, if that makes sense, in the back of your pocket. So I like to have like 3, at most 4 different areas that I feel comfortable with. And like I said, early October, I'll go into this spot because I found a little bit of a couple old oak trees. So I know if they produce, like, that's what I want to focus in on. So yeah, I think that's kind of where my head's at in regards to how I'm going to pick my spots to go in this year. And like I said, I know all these areas already. And then deer wise, like I told you, like I don't have the time and the energy to focus in on one deer. And I think where I hunt, it's kind of, your chances are very slim. So I want to go where I'm gonna have the best opportunity at multiple mature buck that might be in that area. For me, keying in on the doe like to hang out is definitely going to put me in the game more times than not. And again, it's just kind of all the things that get talked about, like kind of the diversity and the habitat, finding those areas, and keying in on those food sources. Because again, a lot of what I hunt is just kind of like just mountainous, non-acorn producing, like trees and brush and swampy areas and stuff. So just kind of finding the diamond in the rough in those spots, and just sometimes you just got to sit there and wait a week, and maybe one of those deer will come by, and maybe you get the opportunity. But you have to be okay with that. And if
Yeah.
you're not okay with that, then you probably should hunt a different kind of setup.
Right. I kind of reminds me of how we were saying, if I go out here locally on a weekend, if early October, maybe we're just still on that cusp of knowing when things get really good. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
From historical data. Like, again, like you said, if a really nice buck gets me going, like I have that opportunity, I'll be more than happy and make that decision there. But like the other part of me is also, I do want to test my hand at back at home at that if I get confirmation that big buck's alive.
Yeah.
The one I've talked about now for many years. It's so funny because a couple years ago when I thought he was huge, and then he was a good deer then, and now it's like effing A, man. That he's just a friggin' ghost.
That's just human nature. Everybody wants to get that giant, especially when you have history with them. It's just kind of like, why would you not try to go back and get just kind of. It's just kind of analyzing and assessing expectations and reality of the situation is kind of where everyone should kind of put themselves going in.
And honestly, if I have another situation where I get a decent buck, now I do have a little bit of goals, when it comes to maybe a buck this year, that type of ordeal.
Yeah.
Like last year, if I have that situation again though, where depending on the timing of it, and I'm like, man, if this deer's getting me excited, and then that other part of me is thinking of what else could potentially happen because of this opportunity. I mean, you don't know. I don't want to be chasing my tail in Pennsylvania again and miss out on New York or miss out on Ohio trips with friends. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to be like, I'm hunting here again. Sorry, guys, type of ordeal. Like, I want to. So yeah, if a decent one pops out and it's decent timing in October again, if I'm very lucky enough to put myself in that situation, then we'll make a game time decision. But yeah, dude, I just want to go out, make sure everything is good on the home front this year, just because, again, last year I was lucky. We were both lucky where they were still pregnant during that time frame, and we were kind of have those opportunities where I hunted multiple states. You went out west, did those things, but now it's kind of, like I said, man, I feel like I'm just keeping my head above water.
I know. It's like there was a part of me that was kind of sad that I didn't plan any Western trips this year, and I tried to kind of plant the seed. I'm like, I can maybe. What if I just fly to Wyoming for like a 3-day antelope hunt or something like that? And she just looked at me, and I'm like, well, maybe another year or two, that might be a feasible option. But for the foreseeable future, it's PA, and then she knows about the lease. I didn't hide that from her, so maybe she'll let me go. Like I said, once or twice up there if things are good at home. So yeah, like I said, that's kind of the key. And again, maybe we talk in 10 years on the next podcast. We'll be in different places in our lives, and we'll be doing those things again and going out west, or like I said, who knows, maybe we have our own farms at that point, but you just never know what's going to happen.
Dude, what the hell would the Antler Up podcast be talking about 10 years from now? That's already not already talked about on every friggin' podcast.
Talking about funnels and like, dude, how can you buy a stick that's 1 pound? Like, you're so behind the times. Like, you got to have this 4-ounce stick that'll rappel you up in the tree, and like the saddle platform. I don't know. Do you think saddles will be a thing in 10 years? I don't know. We might be. Who knows what we'll be doing? It'll be
like a saddle Batman belt thing where like
we'll probably be on, like, drones will be dropping us into our stands, and
talk about the ultimate quietness getting to your stand location.
Yeah. We should one day record or talk about like what we think the hunting situation will be like in 10 years, and then said recap when 10 years happens to see what it actually was like.
A little time capsule there.
Yeah.
Dude, this is how, like, I don't want to get morbid or anything like that right now, but like, like I said, just, I'm working out. I'm out there sometimes. I'm letting loose of, some aggression, whatever. And a song will come on or something along those lines. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, if one thing is really cool about these podcasts and stuff, man, like, God forbid something ever would happen to me, I'm like, at least my family could like listen to podcasts and hear my voice. Like, I know that sounds so weird, but it just, again, man, that's just where I'm just, I don't know. I'm in a weird spot right now, dude. I'm the times when I'm with my friends and family and all that stuff, they're good days. Being alone in my own thoughts right now is not a good thing.
Yeah, yeah. I said I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. I just think you kind of have now a broader view of the world and
Yep.
the finite thing that is life and time and whatnot. Like I said, time is the biggest enemy right now because there's just never enough of it. So
No.
I wish I could be a David Goggins and just keep on grinding and
Stay hard.
staying hard all the time, going out
Yeah.
like maybe 4 a.m. runs and stuff. But like, I don't know. I'd like to maybe sleep more than 4 hours a night. Like when I can catch up on a little bit extra sleep, I'm gonna do that.
Dude, the worst is I'll come like, okay, it's almost 10 o'clock. I'll sometimes get down here or whatever, and I'll do something. I always tell myself, like, don't go past 10:15 on the computer. You know, I hate that. And then we're in the roommate phase still at this point just because of baby situation. So I'll go down to I'm down here in the basement. So I have a futon thing set up down here or whatever. And I might go down a rabbit hole, or I'll try to read a book or something. And then I get this motivation, at like midnight. I'm going to get up at 4:45. I'm going to go out there and run. I'm going to get this workout done even before the baby wakes up. And then dude, that alarm goes off and I'm like, no way. I'm still sleeping. Like, not even close, man.
You're thinking about it. You're like, what an idiot.
Dude, exactly. Because we do have a good schedule where after breakfast with the baby, she usually sleeps for about 45 to an hour. And I'm like, that's my time where I get to go in the garage and work out.
Yeah.
So, like.
Oh, garage gyms, man, they're the best thing in the world now. Like, I have a little setup in my garage, and like, again, total dad thing. I got the mini fridge with the banquet beers and everything, and listen to some Creed while I pump iron. Like, you can't beat it.
Oh shit, man! Nah, dude, you feel good though about your other equipment, like what you got going on, saddles and all that stuff.
Using that Phantom saddle that you let me use. I'm gonna use that again. And then the platform, like I don't know. I always had this fear. Like, I thought saddle hunting was so complicated, mainly because I would read stuff on forums and all that, and Facebook, and these dudes like made it seem like it was like rocket science and everybody's gear was wrong. You had to have this XYZ, and I'm like, it's really not that hard. Like, once you kind of play with it a couple times and like kind of practice shooting the bow in the tree, most guys can figure it out pretty quickly, I'm sure. So I'm gonna keep on rocking the saddle, keep on rocking my Halon bow. I did get a different bag I have the Mystery Ranch frame pack. I got a little bit bigger of a bag this year. I think it's like the Pantler. More so because it was literally discontinued, and I'm like, oh, I might as well get this bag because it's a steal of a deal. But yeah, for the most part, I used the same broadheads. I used the Exodus QADs. I've used them for, I don't even know now, like 8+ years, I think, and still like them. So I'm going to keep on shooting them. So really nothing new in the gear front. I have way too much hunting clothing in my garage that I need another piece of gear, like for my clothing system. Like, I need a hole in my head. So
yeah, exactly.
Just mix and match things together with that. I think I have Stone Glacier, Sitka, all the top end stuff. Obviously, you gotta have the high quality.
You gotta look pretty, feel pretty.
Yeah, you gotta look good. So yeah, I really like. So there's really nothing that I can say. Oh, I definitely need to pick up before the season. It's just, again, it's the time to actually practice with the gear and kind of get ready. And it's like riding a bike. It'll all come together. It might take a couple sits to kind of figure things out again, but I think that's normal for everybody every time when the season rolls around.
Yeah, no doubt, man. Now, dude, any other closing remarks that we didn't touch upon that you think we could do or anything?
Not that I can think of. Like I said, I wish everybody the best, honestly. Yeah. I want everybody to be successful, and I want everybody to find happiness in their life, whatever that means to them. Just, again, it's a thing that we love to do, so do it, but don't neglect the other things in your life that are kind of putting you in that position to be able to go out and do those things. Like,
yeah,
give your wife a kiss, hug your parents when you see, be good to your children. That's all I can really.
Yeah, dude, I'm with you. Amen to that, man. No, dude, I appreciate you doing this, and I appreciate you talking. And again, if you're listening to this and it hits home in any form or fashion, reach out to us, man. It's all, this is a community, you know what I mean? Just of good, like-minded individuals that are just trying to pick each other up a little bit or be there and all that fun stuff. So just, reach out, or if things worked for you of doing little honey-do things around the house or anything like that kind of earns you brownie points, mean, obviously we know that, but if there's anything that you think that is worth sharing, hit us up. We'd love to hear that.
Yeah, sounds good.
All right, man. Dude, check out Drop Time Tom at Thomas Runscavage. His OnlyFans.
Trunscav, and then OnlyFans. I'm just doing feet pics right now, so I'm gonna get a pedicure and get them all nice and cleaned up. But yeah, if you want any feet pics, let me know.
Dude, we need to create like a mount fans where like deer on the wall where you could just like
Actually, talking about feet pics reminds me of that awesome night on TAC a couple years ago in the gang. That was such a fun time. Oh my god. And then our Delaware hunt. Like I always I'll think about those moments and like think, man, that was a great time to be alive, and I had such a blast those nights.
Dude, so good, man.
Hopefully make some memories this year in New York. Will be fun. Doubt. We can all get together.
I like it, man. Dude, thanks for tuning in, everybody. Tom, always a pleasure, brother. I'll talk to you guys all soon. We'll see you next week, everybody. Antler Up.